to Realms of Faye. I am Faye and I'm here to chat to you today about the hawthorn berry plant, the hawthorn tree or the hawthorn bush, however you want to describe it. And I want to bring a little bit of wisdom and knowledge on how we can incorporate hawthorn into our everyday lives to help enhance various different aspects of our health. Hawthorn is an absolutely majestic plant, and it actually rules the energetic qualities of sweet and astringent, and it's actually an adaptogen. It's one of the only known adaptogens that grow in the UK. An adaptogenic herb is basically a herb that works intelligently within the body to work in unison, whether that particular herb helps increase a particular flow or decrease a particular flow. So basically, putting that in layman's terms, so as hawthorn works for the cardiovascular system, specifically in the nervous system, the adaptogenic qualities of that will either, jazz up the nervous system if it needs being, if it's a little bit sedentary and lethargic, or it will calm it down if you're, in an autonomic nervous response, or there's something going on with your body that needs to be kind of calmed and soothed. Again, the same qualities could be said about the heart. So for example, as it works in an adaptogenic way, it will help to tonify the heart and strengthen the heart, but it can also help to calm the heart as well if the heart's beating too fast. So again, these qualities, these adaptogenic qualities, and we'll go into this in a little bit more depth. I'm just giving you an overview of what an adaptogen is really. It's just a plant that works in harmony and with its own intelligence in the body. So it does what it needs to do. It literally work in the body to perform the best possible outcome for that particular system that it's supporting. So it will, help to benefit it in the best way possible by, doing whatever it needs to do intelligently to make that part of the body, or that system of the body, or that organ of the body work at its most potent and and its best performance basically. So like I said, it works on, when I work with Ayurveda, we would use this particular herb in a tridoshic formula. So it would literally be used for either pitta, vata or kapha, so it can help with any of those ailments that arise through those different doshic imbalances. It's strengthening and drying qualities, so it helps to strengthen and tonify the heart. So it's going to help to strengthen and tonify the blood vessels, the heart, the veins, the arteries, the cardiovascular system, the lungs, the heart. And it's going to help basically increase the muscle capacity of the heart to pump more in rhythm and strengthen the pump of the heart. It's going to help the lungs to work in a much stronger way, and it's going to help the blood to pump around the body in a more effective way. It's going to help to relax the heart as well at the same respects. Like I said, that adaptogenic quality there, it will help to make the heart pump less, or slow down if you're suffering with anxiety or some kind of autonomic dysregulation. So I'm just going to read some of the things that I've written about, because trying to remember everything off by heart is going to be quite difficult. So I've written a few little little notes to remind myself of what to tell you. So basically, it's a prophylaxis as well. So basically, hawthorn berries or hawthorn flowers, which is what comes from the hawthorn tree, they prevent disease with the flowers or the berries. So the flowers will come in springtime, and you can use those in your teas, and you can dry them out and use them to sprinkle on things, put them in soups and stews and ketchup and all sorts of things. And you can also use the berries. Again, these can be ground down. You do have to use your discernment with the berries. You're probably better to buy them ready done rather than harvest them and forage them, because they do contain some compounds that can be toxic. So you do have to be careful with that. So a really good place to buy them from is Indigo Herbs. They do them ready-made for you to use, and you can either crush them down or you can just use them in a little strainer in your tea. so basically they also rule the energy of Mars and Venus. So that basically means that they help to strengthen, because Mars is a strengthening energy, isn't it? And it's a masculine energy, and it's an action driven energy, a passion energy. So again, Hawthorn can work not just with the physical ailments of the heart or cardiovascular system and nervous system. It can also work with the energetic aspects of those things. So it can help you with matters of the heart, with matters of love and matters of, jealousy or heartbreak or grief or all of the above, a bit of insomnia, all of those things. Hawthorn can really work its wonder. And at the moment where we're leading primarily with our heart, and we're being very heart-centered, the hawthorn flower or hawthorn berry is really coming into its own right now as being a really beneficial herb for us to incorporate in our everyday lives. Just as a contraindication, you do need to be very careful if you're on heart medications when using this plant, because obviously it can interfere with those things. So do obviously always seek medical advice before trying any herbs. I'm just giving you a little rundown of how beneficial this herb really is. It's a pagan symbol of fertility. The hawthorn tree is the pagan symbol of fertility, and it's linked to the Fae kingdom and the Fae realm. So obviously that's another reason why I have an affiliation with it. And the really weird thing is, when I moved into this house, I've been here 3 years now, and obviously, as you know, I suffer a lot with my health, and I actually suffer with problems with my heart and my nervous system. So hawthorn is a plant that I use and have used, and it's been fantastic in helping me with various different things. But when I moved into this house, when I walked into the garden, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw a hawthorn tree. It was like it was just, telling me this is the house for you, and you need this house, because you need this tree. And obviously I've harvested some of the berries and some of the flowers as well for my own use over the last few years. But yeah, so again, just going to show you that, the symbolic energy of that, and how some people, when they're needing it, that it will be there for them when they move, or in the vicinity where you are. If plants talk to you and communicate with you, and they're sentient beings. And I was lucky enough to have one when I moved into this house, which was phenomenal. Like I say, it's the only known adaptogen in the UK, which makes it quite a rare plant. It's one of our, there's so many adaptogens out in the big wide world, adaptogenic herbs and plants like certain mushrooms and things like that. But they're mostly in different countries, not so much in the UK where hawthorn is. It's also linked to the signs of Gemini and Cancer. Again, Gemini and Cancer rules the 3rd and 4th house. So, it's a great herb for helping you to communicate what's in your heart and helping you to speak your truths. The Gemini is linked to the Lovers tarot as well in the deck. So it's very much showing the hawthorn's connection to the heart and to twin flame union. So it can be used in spells for that matter as well. It can be used in ceremony for that matter. Actually, the hawthorn tree and hawthorn berries and flowers were actually used in a lot of fertility rituals and in a lot of pagan ceremonies and hand fasting ceremonies and wedding and blessings and things like that, wedding blessings and stuff like that. So it goes back centuries in pagan philosophy and mythology in how the hawthorn plant has been used in all matters of the heart, helping with grief and fertility and love and passion and all those kind of things. And it's a purification plant as well. So hawthorn helps with the purification of the emotions as well. So it's a great plant to use if you're going through, any grief to do with whether it be bereavement, because it will also help with calm the nervous system, and it will calm, any anxiety, but it will also help warm and calm and tonify the heart as well. So as with anything, when we experience really visceral grief, it can really affect your heart, structurally as well as emotionally, and so the hawthorn plant will help with that. It will help with the tonification, it will help with the energetics, it will help with the spiritual aspect of heart healing as well. So anything to do with heart healing really. And again, the twin flame scenario, like I said to you before, it was used in pagan ceremonies for marriage, fertility rituals, but it's also a really great plant to use for anything with intent to do with twin flames, whether that be breaking hexes, breaking any kind of attachments, or also just keeping your heart healed and protected, or attracting and manifesting that twin flame union into your life. So it's a wonderful plant. I absolutely love hawthorn. It is sacred to the fairies and the ethereal kingdom, which is again why there's an affiliation to me. I absolutely love all of that kind of thing. And witches were said to shapeshift into hawthorn trees and plants, and perform their rituals around them. So they're very majestic trees, and there is actually a myth or a folklore that says if you was to cut down a hawthorn tree, that you would be cursed for all of eternity. So best not to do that. Best to avoid that. Do excuse me if I've got mascara under my eyes, but I've been in readings all day, so I'm just literally doing this now as a quick go through with you. As I said I would, so I'm going to put it in there because it's so beneficial to so many people. Like if you're going through heartbreak, or you're needing some heart healing right now, or you're needing some to help calm your nervous system because it's all jazzed up, you know, so it'd be great for people with ADHD, great for people that are struggling with, you know, any kind of autonomic dysregulation, all things like that. So it'd be really good for that kind of thing. It protects the home and hearth from weather damage as well. So years ago, it used to be used as a, you know, as a kind of talisman, if you like, for lightning strikes and to protect the home from damage from weather and things like that, which is really interesting. I didn't know that myself when I was researching it and reading it. It strengthens and protects your toroidal field of your heart and the EMF of your heart. So energetically, it helps to, you know, with that toroidal field. So it helps with the magnification and the magnification and the kind of emittance and vibrational frequency that you're putting out there. It helps to purify and enrich and tonify that. So, which is fantastic, isn't it, as well? It helps with balancing stress and anxiety and speaking to the heart. It unblocks stuck emotions, and it aids with ancestral healing, and it alleviates the ADHD monkey mind, like I just said a moment ago, and hyperactivity. It's a cardiac tonic and a cardiac tropo-restorative adaptogen. So, you know, like I said, it works very intelligently. It knows exactly what it needs to do. So it either comes in to help magnify a certain area, to build, or to help calm. So it works in both different ways. It's very, very intelligent herb. It helps with hypotension and hypertension. So again, that's that adaptogenic, trophogenic quality there that it has. So if you've got hypotension, which is low blood pressure, it helps to lift your blood pressure to get it into more of an equilibrium balance. But if you have hypertension, which is where you've got high blood pressure, it will help to lower that and put it more back into balance. So again, it's showing you its intelligence there, where it's able to come in and maneuver and, you know, get you into a state of homeostasis. It's a magnificent herb. It's a bit bitter though, like the astringent flavour of it can, you know, you need a bit of honey, I think, when you're going to have it in tea, because it can be a bit bitter, you know. Like I say, so it helps with any kind of arterial health. It helps with plaque elasticity, so it helps to break down plaque in the arteries and the veins. It helps with inflammation. It's antioxidant rich and phytonutrient rich, so it helps to give you all of the nutrients and the balance that you need to help grow and keep your heart and veins and vascular system and cardiovascular system in top tip working condition. It prevents and treats and heals, so it does all three of those things. So that's that also trophy restorative energy, that it prevents, treats and heals. So it's a great, if you know you've got any cardiovascular issues in your family or any heart related conditions in your family, then hawthorn would be a fantastic herb that's indicated for you to use as a preventative, and you know, start using it from young, so that you know you're keeping that tonifying effect, and it's doing what it needs to do to keep you healthy and working in good condition. It also prevents strokes, arrhythmias, angina, heart attacks and palpitations. So it works to treat, heal and prevent those kinds of conditions. Again, varicose veins, another condition that it helps with. It manages cholesterol by lowering triglycerides, so it lowers LDL or you know, increases it if need be, and prevents and treats fatty liver disease. So again, this is another really great herb to use as a tea, you know, and it's hawthorn works in a way that you need to be using it on a daily basis for it to build and kind of create the energetic frequency that it needs to work at its best. So if you're just having a small amount every day, then that is the best way to kind of introduce hawthorn into your body and into your energetics. Again, if you're needing to use it in tincture form in a higher quantity for treatment of a particular disease, then obviously you would be getting a high dose of it. But if you're just using it as a preventative, then you'd want to be using that over a period of time, but using it regularly so that you're actually seeing the benefit of it. It optimises the oxygen-rich blood that flows through the coronary arteries, and also increases the inotrophic effect and increases the force of blood flow and the contractions of the heart and rebalances. So it basically helps to strengthen that pump process through the heart, which obviously builds the muscle and strengthens the muscle of the heart. You can see how if it's increasing the flow of the blood through that, as it's pumping, it's literally making the heart stronger and stronger with each pump. So fantastic, isn't it? It balances and tonifies the central the cardiovascular system and the nervous system. And so this is really indicated for me because I have an autonomic nervous system disruption, and so it's really indicated for me to use this. It's tridosic, but in heavy doses it can, like over 300 milligrams, 3,000 milligrams, it can be aggravating to the doshas as well. It helps with weakness and congestion, swelling and moisture, varicose veins, and it's racinianic, which basically means that it destroys disease. So it helps destroy disease and promotes longevity. It increases feelings of love and heart-centeredness, emotional love and kindness, empathy, compassion, forgiveness and courage. It helps with anemia, Raynaud's disease, nervous system disease, blood clots and adrenal fatigue. So you can just see there in just a very short flow through, and this is just a very basic overview of hawthorn berry, of how beneficial it can be. I know a few months back I had a friend staying with me that had gone through a really traumatic episode, a real episode of grief, and I had her on the hawthorn berry teas immediately to help to alleviate the shock and the stress. So it's fantastic to use in those instances as well, alongside other herbs. Obviously, in regard to shock, it would probably take a little bit more. It would help, but it would work at its best over a period of time, so it builds. So it would work really well for long-term use for heart conditions and any kind of heartbreak and jealousy or matters that come from the heart. But in a world where we're going to be leading mainly with from the heart, and we're moving much more into a heart-centered space. We're needing to be really mindful of some of these herbs that can help support and assist us with these changes that are taking place collectively. And I feel that hawthorn does literally fit that bill. It really does help with all of those kinds of things. And I've used it, like I say, to treat palpitations. I've used it to treat arrhythmias. And I've used it to treat anxiety for myself, and very effectively, and on other people very effectively. So I think it is a herb that is a very, very majestic and intelligent herb, and it has profound healing, preventative and curable components to it, and it would be a really beneficial addition to your home apothecary, which I will be harping on about in my herb section of this channel, because I want to educate you as much as possible on the benefits of using herbs in your everyday life, especially using them in kind of more polyherbal mixtures, because they become very alchemal and potent in that form. So for example, hawthorn would be a wonderful addition to something that you're taking to help with anxiety, or something that you're taking in a herbal format, like say for example passion flower and hawthorn, or taking it because that's a nervine, or taking it with something like chamomile and hawthorn. So they're both calmative, that would be really, really beneficial to help with maybe sleep or relaxation, or calming the nervous system and calming the system down. Again, it would be really beneficial to be using things like hawthorn in your kind of everyday life, just to help you with, coming from a more heart-centered place. It might even help you to incorporate into some of your cacao rituals. If you're doing cacao rituals, to introduce a little bit of hawthorn in there to help with the heart opening, because obviously cacao does similar things, and it has a lot of benefits to it as well. But working with the hawthorn, it would work in synergistic capacity with one another, which would be really beneficial if you're running any kind of things like that, or you're doing it for yourself, you know, using cacao to help with open heart practice and heart-centeredness approaches. Again, it'd be, I just personally feel that if you're, you know, you're trying to be more healthy and trying to be more independent with your with your kind of approach to being able to prescribe and look after yourself from home, rather than having to be so solely reliant on big pharma, because again, it has its place, but I think there's a lot of things that we can do for ourselves medicinally, that we have really had the wisdom cut away from us over the years, and, you know, centuries even. It's gradually been taken away from us, all of this wisdom and knowledge that plants provide for us with their abilities to help with, you know, heart healing, energetic healing, mind, body and soul healing. And I think it's time for us to get back into that now, and look at what we can do for ourselves at home. You know, what preventatives can we put in place to establish longevity? What you know, what tonifying and beneficial plants can we incorporate into our daily life? You know, we're told all the time about, you know, eating our 5 a day, or our, you know, 30 a week, you know, of what we should be incorporating into our bodies. But not often do we talk about herbs. It's mainly like your fruit and vegetables, isn't it? But actually herbs are a massive integral part of that 30 a day, or, you know, 5 a day. Like, for example, I have probably a multitude of herbs every day. You know, I incorporate oregano and rosemary into pretty much everything I cook, garlic in everything I cook. I'm also using hawthorn, chamomile. There's loads of, you know, fennel. There's just so many herbs that I use on a daily basis, that I use for my everyday health, and they are a medicine. They are our natural apothecary, really, and we should be using every little shred of wisdom that people share with us and taking it on board and experimenting with it to a degree, obviously with regard to using your discernment, and if you have any underlying health conditions, that you check this out with your GP. Oh, excuse me. I'm yawning. Do apologise. Or you check this out with your GP. It's been a long day. And I do have chronic fatigue. Again, this is a fantastic herb for chronic fatigue, hawthorn, because it helps with balancing your adrenal glands. So this would be really good for that as well. But you take what you can from that, you know, glean the wisdom from it, pick the bones out of it, however you want to, you know, deal with that. Take it on board and use it to your advantage, like we should all be doing. We need to be sharing this wisdom amongst the collective now, and helping each other to stay well, get well, and, you know, care for one another, coming from a place of love and giving and you know, and receiving. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little snippet, this little herbal snippet, and I'll chuck a few more in. But obviously hawthorn is the herb really that governs, you know, although it's a herb that kind of is more pronounced at spring and autumn, it's a wonderful winter herb, you know, because it supports the cardiovascular system and the nervous system. And as we begin now to move, you know, into different planetary alignments, so as we kind of have Gemini being activated again, and we, you know, Gemini's going to be being activated by Jupiter as it moves out and into Cancer. So we're going to, the nervous system's going to be really jazzed up and activated. So that will be a really good time to think about incorporating that. And as we've got, you know, strong Uranus energy again moving out of Taurus and into Gemini. So again, Uranus is going to be, you know, as Jupiter's moving out, Uranus is moving in. So, you know, they're all taking turns. So that's going to really jazz up the old nervous system, because Gemini rules the nervous system. So, you know, we're going to need that support from plants such as hawthorn and chamomile, and plants that help soothe the nervous system and get us into a space of, you know, heart-centeredness and calm and stable and stability. You know, so as that happens, as those astrological shifts happen, we will be finding that we'll be struggling a little bit maybe to get, you know, our monkey mind into check and get our nervous systems regulated. So hawthorn will be a fantastic herb to help assist you with that, and incorporate into your home apothecary. So I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been lovely to share it with you. Enjoy experimenting, and as I will always say after every one of these episodes, I am not a doctor or a GP. I'm just sharing with you some wisdom and advice that I'm learning along my Ayurvedic path and along my herbalist journey. It is down to your own discernment to seek medical advice and take with precautions. Okay, and never ever prescribe for children. Okay, no problem. You take care, look after yourself, all the best.